Shalom. I want to give all praises due to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem, Rekakwadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well over the flock. Shalom, salutation to you brothers out here, push the words of truth and sincerity. Shalom. You know, many topics going through my mind right now, but I guess I'll settle on the one where you got to put yourself into the scriptures. One of the key methods that GMS or Great Millstone or many Hebrew Israelite camps will use is that you have to see yourself in the scriptures. You got to see yourself an Israelite. To know and have the knowledge of being an Israelite is one thing. When you apply it to you being a part of this truth and you having a foundational element to this truth is that you were those people, then it gives you a lot of inspiration to keep at it, and it helps you make sense of a lot of things. This is Psalms 119 and 81. My soul fainted for thy salvation, but I hope in thy word. In this truth, in these scriptures, when we read about salvation, when we read about the saving of Israelites in the end times, when we read about prophetic judgment to happen in the last days, we understand that the Most High is going to destroy the wicked, but he's also going to have a separation in which he gives his true believers salvation. This is Matthew 13 and 47. Again, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a net that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind, which when it was full, they drew to shore and sat down and gathered the good into the vessels, but cast the bad away. So the Most High is going to make that great separation, and this is all fulfilling because we deal with a lot of persecution from people that don't believe. And you would think that a tolerant society such as America would be more tolerant of people who believe in the Bible, but every day we've seen that's being farther from the truth every day. Every day, the Lord's people is being pushed into a direction in which it's going to be devastating to them. And the reason why is because your enemy has made schemes and plots against you. And that's furthermore reason why the enemy, Esau, Edom, got to be destroyed, because look what he has structured his society to do, which is lead us into a way of destruction. Matthews 13 and 49 says, so that it shall be at the end of the world, which we're steadily marching forward to, looking forward to, approaching. The angel shall come forth and sever the wicked from the just. So we're looking for a day of separation, because it might be a lot of people that say they believe, but in the end, the Lord will be justified in all his works when he starts destroying people and slaughtering them, right? But we understand that there's a great salvation. Remember, you just read that scripture that says, I believe in thy word, and I have hope because I believe in thy word. So we expect in the time in which, and when you go into that word saved, it deals twofold. It deals with saved from your old self, from that past self, but the ultimate salvation is going to come in the form of Yahweh Shai returning back and delivering his people from the persecution, the foresaid troubles of the times we in. All right, because one thing we know about these times is it's going to be all types of hell that we got to catch by our enemies and adversaries. However, the Lord is going to allow us to give a spirit of fighting against that, and not succumbing to what it is Esau, Edom got planned for us. We're going to steadily be fighting different situations in the spiritual sense. Psalms 3 and 6, I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people that have set themselves against me round about. This is the spirit that the Lord continues to put on our people. Why? Because we see it more fit to believe in the Heavenly Father and the higher power and to fear him than to fear man. Psalms 119 and 157. Many are my persecutors and mine enemies, yet do I not decline from thy testimonies. So the key here for us is to hold on fast to what we learn, and to understanding that this is going to lead to salvation. It's the belief and the faith on the precepts and the testimonies and the word that we could we can stand on. That's our counsel. That's our foundation, if you will. This is 2 Corinthians 4 and 8. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, yet not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. So the Most High knows our troubles. He knows our pain. He knows what we're dealing with. But he also knows how to take us out. Take us out of that persecution and affliction. Because it's not for long. Matthew 5 and 10. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake. For theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So, we talking about an inheritance forevermore, everlasting inheritance in the kingdom of heaven, which is not going to be comparable to what you're going through. It's not going to be comparable to America. It's ultimately the most satisfying, enjoyable place you'll be in your lifetime, man. That's what the kingdom of heaven is. It says, blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake. So you catching L's over and over and over, in your personal life, family life, business life, you catching L's. That's situational. I mean, that's circumstantial, being that it's not going to last forever, and for the ones that's doing it for righteousness' sake now, mind you, for righteousness' sake, because we got a lot of our people that's still in their straits, still in bondage, because this is where we at. This is the time period we living in. Bondage. State of a permanent affliction by your enemies, having the adversarial people, Esau, Edom, rule over you, and your heritage wiped away or stolen and blotted out as if they tried to erase our lineage. And that's why it's very important to see yourself in the scriptures. Now, when you read about if you're an older man, if you're an older woman, you read about the elder ladies, the elder women of the Lord. Put yourself in there, man. Imagine what they would be doing today. If you're a young man, you read about how Jeremiah came in very early, very young, and the Lord spoke at a young age, 12 years old, his first sermon. And you start to realize that the Lord do deal with the youth. And it's an exciting time to come into this world, especially as a youth, as a young person. So you don't let that affect you. Don't let that mindset. Instead, you transfer yourself as if you were in those scriptures, man. If you're a part of it, if you're an Israelite, if your lineage come from Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, or if you just believe you are an Israelite, even though you don't look like one, still could be one. And so you translate yourself. If you're in your mid-30s or 40s or 50s, are you right? 20s, you still translating yourself into these scriptures. You might have been one of them people during the time of the war, between King David and King Solomon. Put yourself in those shoes. Put yourself in the time, really understand what the time frame looked like when Yahushua was speaking from the hilltops, or when he was speaking from the sea, from the boat on the seashore. Imagine and put yourself into these scriptures, because it's only going to help you out. It's only going to further embed in your mind that you are these people. And because the Lord helps you, allow you to visualize it better, that's how you're supposed to read the scriptures. That's how you're supposed to see them, with yourself included. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil and against you falsely for my sake. So the ones that come against us, they're just causing us to be more and more blessed if we're doing it for righteousness' sake, right? Pushing this word. It says, rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. And that's what we're talking about. That's what we're doing this for. This method of translating yourself into the scriptures is just to edify you, to build you up, to really cement. All right, think of cement, how it's soft. Starts off soft, but then when it gives enough dry time, enough settle time, and the air hits it, and the light hits it, and you wait a while, that cement is one of the most formidable, hardest surfaces you ever gonna see. And that's what it's like when you put yourself into these scriptures. You cement yourself into the scriptures. Now, when you've been pushing this word for 5, 6, 7 years, and you starting to get a little agitated about, the Lord, how long this hell is taking, you can imagine what Noah went through prophesying for 120 years. You can imagine now what that was like. You once again putting yourself into the scriptures. You can imagine that because you have that instilled in you. It says, "For great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets which were before you." So you understand, you coming from a line of men who did this, man. You're of that line of men, Lord willing, who will be chosen, who is chosen and be called and chosen, man. Luke 9:24, for whosoever will save his life shall lose it, but whosoever will lose his life for my sake, the same shall save it. Now, when you think of men who lost their life for the Lord's sake, right? Who is that? Not physically lost your life, but figuratively, because you put everything else off. I believe Peter and Andrew, the Lord called them from being fishers. They was on the boat at the time, doing their job. At the time the Lord called them, come. Summoned all of his 12 disciples to come and be with him and walk with him and teach with him, preach with him, And, as the scriptures say here, whosoever shall lose his life for my sake shall save it. So those men who are part of the elect of Israel, all of the elect is going to be restored, given allotments and precious gifts and rulership in the kingdom of heaven. And if this society means that much to you, then you really haven't grasped what life is really all about. Because the Most High is allowing you to return back to him and have an everlasting kingdom and an everlasting rulership where it's ongoing. No tears, no more pain, no more suffering, no more slavery, no more getting called nigger, under the breath, around the corner, behind the scenes, however. No more faultiness, no more self-destruction. No more bad looks from your people, no more negativity, only positivity. The kingdom of heaven is perfect in every which way for our people, for the Lord's chosen Israel, and for the world, because we're going to regulate. And when you rule, you get to regulate how the rest of the nations are, and they're going to come to us for our wisdom, and we will train them and teach them. But we ourselves will have embedded, which is part of the new covenant, embedded in our minds, the entire truth, and will not be able to sin ever again, which means we'll be perfect, which means we'll be changed. Our bodies is changed. We'll be live forevermore. How can you think that this life where you can die, you can walk outside and get hit by a train, hit by a bus, easy, you could catch something in the air, man. You could be sick in bed for 3 weeks. How can you possibly think that this life and this body equates to what the Lord has give you if you do his will? This is Romans 8:18. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. So it's a great time, man. It's a great time to put yourself into these scriptures, to really understand and be edified by what the word is saying. All right, cut that whole this America, you got something to live for. This is the greatest place in the world. Make America. How is it the greatest, and they trying to make it great again at the same time. It must be destitute. It must be dry. It's a valley of dry bones. It's a valley of shadow of death. I mean, come on, man. You know, this ain't your rest, the scriptures say. It condemns this place all and all through. It says we have no continuing city here. So you're not supposed to look forward to, you're looking forward to Halloween, and people looking forward to going back to school and get their degrees and get pumped. They just pumping themselves up. In all actuality, man, they go home, they medicate, and then they look for a way out. And they condemn us when they got their own mental instabilities and financial instabilities and food scarcities, and there's famines and plagues to be had. And people want to make it here and still dream big here. Go for it. Go for it. All right. Romans 8:18, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. The glory which shall be revealed in us is when Yahushua returns, comes back, and he lifts us up on the next playing field, on the next level. All right. He gives his elect power. He makes them like him. All right. And he delivers us through these chariots, right, that he's coming back to save us and destroy the rest with. There's a great slaughter that's about to be had. And the ones that's paying attention, you're supposed to put yourself in these scriptures. Imagine yourself getting beamed up. When last time you had that thought, right? 1 Peter 1:7, that the trial of your faith, which is what we're going through, being much more precious than of gold that perisheth. Gold perisheth away, but your trial, your faith is much more precious than gold. So the Most High, more importantly than the resources on this earth, he's coming back for his number one resources, the number one precious thing, which is his people. Don't ever get it twisted. There's nothing more material. There's no material on this earth that's more precious than the Lord's people, Zion. That though it be tried with fire, the fires of adversity in this case, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yahushua. You burn gold, you burn metals, precious metals, you melt them to see where the impurities are, so that it can be a 24 karat instead of the 10 and the 14 and the 18. You want the 24 karat, which means no impurities in it. And so the quality in which the Lord will find his people when he returns is 24 karat, is likened unto that precious, because of the fire and the melting and the purging of all of our dross out of us, which is the unclean ways, unclean thoughts, unclean habits that the Lord, because you come into this truth unclean. All right, you come in sick. The Lord spoke about that. I'm looking for the sick, not the whole. And so you come into this thing sick, and you need stability. You need to be purged, all of this dross out of you. And you do that by consistently being in the Word, learning, training your ear to deal with reason of the scriptures and not your own reasoning. Get out of your own vain conceits. All right. 1 Peter 1:7, the trial of your faith being much more precious. Right? Okay, I read that. Yep. So this is what the Lord wants of us, that we continue on in the things we learn. All right. It says in 2 Peter 3:17, ye therefore, beloved, seeing ye know these things before, beware lest ye also, being led away with the error of the wicked, fall from your own steadfastness. So remember, you're in a situation in which you could fall from if you're not careful. Beware to be cautious, be careful. Careful of what? The error of the wicked and being led away that way. So you can be led astray. You can be in this truth and still led astray. So imagine that. Waking up to this truth is not the end all be all. It's he that endureth unto the end shall be saved. So now you've done the beginning work. Now you have to do the rest of the work, which is watching out for the things that could lead you back into the world. After you done been removed from the rudiments of this world, now you go back towards it. So you got to be careful with that. We understand that the Most High is coming back to deliver and to save. So we understand that we got to continue to worship him and stay in a mind frame and a mindset that when he comes back, he'll reward us and not say, oh, you fell short, oh, you went back into the world. Okay, well, you put my, it's like you put me up on the cross again. You know, so you got to beware of that. Lord willing, this video is edifying, straight to the point. Till next time, shalom. Kwame Shala DTA. Shalom.